building a team, and the biggest emphasis that I work with on my business owners is everything that you do, keep in mind that end game. Are you creating a business or are you just creating a job? That's unfortunately where I went wrong in my first business, is that I just basically became self-employed and had to spend a long time basically entangling myself from the day-to-day in order to actually have a functioning business. So for those of you guys who are just getting started in business, awesome that you're getting this now. Keep that in mind, and just, don't forget that perspective that it's not a do-it-yourself aspect, because that becomes self-employed. So take all of this, grow it as a business, work on building a team and leveraging whether your team, I know a lot of my clients are in multi-level marketing, so they're really big on team building. So whether that's your aspect or you're building like a brick and mortar, same idea with teams. Whether they have to be employees or, actual team members, same idea. You're leveraging somebody else's time, energy, and skills to help you build a business and share the vision with them. Awesome. Anything to add before we jump in, Gil?
Nope. If we are ready to roll, I'll put myself on mute here, check the chat lines, and let's go ahead and get right into it.
Yeah, and then do you want me, because I can probably go through everything today, or I can break it into a couple different segments. So I'm thinking kind of let the content stretch, or it's up to you.
Yeah, let's do it in 2 sessions for now. We'll do 2 sessions on this, and then we should be good.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically, like I said, it's how to build a team, and not just build a team, but we want to build a dynasty. And by dynasty, we mean something that's big, giant, moves itself, and the biggest thing is that it's built to last. So before you build a team, gotta go back to you. What are your strengths? And think about that. For myself, I know that I'm a really good starter and need a little help on the finishing. So that's just things that I've known, and rather, I've tried working on myself on those, and I've improved, but I also know what my strengths and weaknesses are. So you need to identify those very clearly before building a team, because if you can't manage yourself, you're not about to manage a team. So make sure that you know exactly, where your strengths are, and then start to thinking, how can you duplicate yourself? If there's certain things, like in business, when we did video marketing, I mentioned, if there's certain FAQs that you get all the time, well, record those, turn those into a video. Those are excellent ways to help duplicate yourself, help your team, but it leverages your time. Instead of having to say the same thing to every single person you bring on board, what if they could just watch a 5-minute video and you don't have to repeat your same spiel again and again and again? And then also start thinking, when you're starting to build it, what training can you offer them? You want to give them support, but yet the more that you do for people, the less that they do on their own in general. As much as we all think that we want to be spoon-fed, if you're spoon-fed, you're never going to learn how to do it yourself, and you're actually going to end up doing less. So just think about those things before you go ahead and start bringing in a team, because if you don't have this foundation underway, there's no point in bringing people in under you. And there's also 3 must-haves for team building, which is what we've talked about on a lot of things. So you need a blog or a website in order to brand yourself. People that come on board need to know you. That could be your business website, anything like that, but you just need to have a presence. You need a landing page in terms of internet marketing or anything online. How are you going to attract the new team members? What's your advertising? And then how are you going to communicate with them? Well, that's where your autoresponders and email marketing that we've touched on before comes into play. So you just have to have those 3 key things before you start going out and getting a team made. Is, who are you? What do they do? How do they learn about you? Blog, website, something like that. Your landing page, so how are you going to get the new people to even come on board or advertise? And then your autoresponder is how are you going to communicate with them? So just keep those 3 things in mind, and you need to have those in place before you go out and start building teams. And why do we want to even build a team? Well, it goes back to day one when we talked about the cash flow quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki. So your employee and your self-employed people, you're trading your time for dollars. That's where, 98% of the world lives. However, the big players, those are the business owners and the investors. We're focusing on business owners with this one, so you're going to own a system and people work for you. You're leveraging other people's time, their money, their skills, everything. So that's why we want to build a team and not just do it yourself. If you're not in a business where a team member can come on board, well, this is why you would be hiring employees and starting small. We can definitely work with people with low budgets, but just start to begin that outsourcing project, so that way it doesn't all come on you and then you end up, few years down the road, which is exactly what happened in my business. The 5-year mark hit. I was ready to, get some of my time back and realized, whoops, I'm stuck. I've just created a job. So rather than go 5 years into doing it yourself, start building your team, your business now from the very beginning, and keep that end in mind. So we're going to discuss the ultimate team building formula. So phase 1 is about creating the team. Phase 2 is you have to work on keeping the team, which is actually the most difficult thing. And then from there, phase 3 is scaling it or building that dynasty. So we're going to do phase 1 today, and then we'll hit phase 2 and 3 tomorrow. So phase 1, how do you create the team? Well, there's 4 different steps. So you're going to create a home base, establish your front line, develop your core identity, and then mark your territory. So we're going to break those down as they go along. So for your home base, how do you create a home base? This is basically where you create it. It can be from a website, if that's how you're doing it. A lot of people do it on websites or social media, things like that. But it's how do you communicate? Gil has a local cash flow that he uses to communicate and get, a good structure for a lot of his real estate investors. Awesome way. So there's different ways to leverage having that home base, and it really doesn't matter what way you decide as long as you keep it consistent and establish a home base. So where is it? It's where your team comes together. Hey, guess what? You're on one of our home bases right now, which is our daily noon session. This is where everyone that's in our group can come together. We touch base every single day, and you can jump on board. It's accountability, but this is one of our home bases in our businesses too. So what does your home base need to have in it? Well, it all has to start with you. So you need to define what it is that you're looking for. And you also need to actually get stuff done. So once you produce results, then you can go ahead and start creating people. If you start hiring people and you've never done anything, well, how are you going to teach somebody how to do something if you've never done it yourself? So make sure, as you're creating that home base and figuring out and getting people together, make sure that you can produce those results and research whatever needs to be kept on top of. You're going to train people how to do it, and then you're going to implement it. And the biggest thing that we've touched based on everything is consistency. And then back to that, if you can't manage yourself, you cannot manage a team. Don't even bother trying. And then the funny thing on that is you're going to be too needy checking in on them and doing everything for them that you're basically going to be running their business or helping them. Or, I've had people, they hire an assistant and they still can't delegate to that assistant, so the assistant just sits there while the person does everything. So that's not what our goal is with this one. So just make sure that you're producing results, you have things moving forward, and you can start to bring people in. And where are you going to bring them in? Into a home base. So figure out, I have Facebook groups for some of my team members. So there's lots of different aspects, but what is going to be your central thing? Where does everybody come together? And how do you guys keep in contact with each other? So then a front line, a fantastic thing. And basically what your front line is It's your team of leaders that help support a bigger team. This is especially great, like for multi-level marketing and things like that, where the goal is to have a large team. Well, if you're managing it yourself, well, guess what? You're just self-employed. You're going to be the people working 80 hours a week trying to manage people. Whether you're picking up the phone or sending email support, you are going to feel overwhelmed. So remember, end in mind, we want to scale this big. So how on earth can you do it all yourself? Well, you can't. So start from the beginning and start getting key members in that are great leaders in and of themselves that can help support your vision. And why do you need them? Delegation. It's not up to you to manage this entire business on your own. And don't make it a job. It's not fun, and it's even worse trying to get unentangled from this job. So for your frontline, basically you can think of it as a leadership council of appointed people who share your vision. Whatever your vision might be, but you need to be very clear on that, which we're going to touch base on one of our next steps. But make sure that you have that. You want these people to be loyal and faithful not only to the vision, but to you. If you can't trust people to either be loyal to you or to get stuff done, they're not going to be your leadership council. You want to work with people that actually want to work with you. If they don't like you, why do you want them on your team? They might, you guys might work very well together, but if at the end of the day you guys are not on the same page, you can't agree on different things, those are not somebody that you want to work and surround yourself with. And people in your front line, also it's great to keep in mind that these people, they can complement things. Like I said, I'm a really good starter, so a finisher would be an excellent person to add to my front line. You can have people, that are great maybe on mindset and motivation. Maybe somebody who's really good at managing money that can be a great advisor. Answering questions. Maybe they love to coach new people, and that's somebody's passion is to just help people get going. Well, these are all different aspects that can help you, and it's creating your little team within a team, or that leadership council to help support you in your vision and goal, and make sure that, like I said, they're aligned with your vision and goal, and you guys all support each other. So then it comes down to, well, how are you going to be perceived, and what feeling or energy will your business have? This is where you set the tone. Remember, this is still your business, although you're bringing a leadership council and scaling it big. You're the one who started it. It's still on you. So you really have to think, how do you want to be perceived as a leader? Are you very removed from it and kind of an elite leader? There's definitely some leaders even in our industry that, you're never going to get a direct email from them. They're just too busy, and that's how they've set themselves up and built their team. There's other people that are very accessible and they'll answer questions. So just keep in mind, where do you fall on that scale, and keep that end in mind. Where do you see yourself? If you have, 100 people that you're helping manage, are you talking to all those 100 people? Have you never talked to them? Just kind of, get the ball rolling and start thinking about where you eventually want to go. And then also, what feeling or energy does your business have? At my party business, we like things very laid back and casual. That's our work environment. That's what we identified as our core environment. We also want people to be very outgoing and bubbly and things like that. So that's where, we've set that tone from the very top, and everyone that we've hired, so that's not, they're team members, but in this case, they're employees in my animal party business. And so everybody that comes on board, when we hire them, they are becoming team members, and we make sure that they follow those values, and that the way that they interact, goes really well with the feeling and energy of our business. People that are just kind of mopey, or, we've had people that are really passionate about the animals, but they don't really like kids. Well, for our business, if you're doing kids' birthday parties and taking animals there, you kind of got to like kids and animals. So for that, their feelings and energy weren't jiving with us. So they didn't end up working out, even though they were crazy about the animals. They didn't have the people skills to go along with it. So just think that, and be selective. You want to make sure that your team and your business reflects you. So really think hard about that, and where do you want to go, and make sure that really comes across in your messages too. And then once you come up with all of this, mark your territory. Didn't need a different kind of visual for that one. But basically it comes back to what's your brand and all of that stuff. You've identified that in your core identity, and now you need to make sure that everybody knows it. Make sure that you have a name, a logo, maybe a slogan, things like that. And then brand yourself, your team, your business. Everything comes down to it. So it is still, at the end of the day, your business. Even if you have a leadership council and all of that, they're in your business. So make sure that you come across in all of that and mark your territory. This is, whatever it might be, but make sure that people know it. In my party business, people know us. They know us for being really outgoing, kind of the best of the best for that. All of those aspects, we've worked very hard on our branding, and that's where it marks the territory. As far as people know, oh, well, if I want something, in this regard, I'm going to use Reptacular, because the other businesses, well, they just have a different feel, a different drive. And from the time that they visit our website, talk to us on the phone, we come out to their party, we want the same vibe and message to go out. So make sure that that's very clear in all of your things. And I believe, cool. And we'll just leave it there, and we'll get on to phase 2 for keeping the team tomorrow.